Grab a sheet of plywood and turn it into something spooky this season. I used 1/2-inch plywood and drew a funky shaped haunted house with a pencil. Then I used a jigsaw to cut out the shape. When the design was cut, I used 80 grit sandpaper to sand the edges enough to remove the rough parts. I took it inside and applied a primer to the top and edges. This step is really important, so don't skip it. The primer will seal the knots and prevent the paint from bleeding. Once the primer was dry, I painted the top and edges with black paint. I used a porch and patio paint because that's what I had on hand, but any exterior paint would work. I let it dry completely and applied a second coat. Once that was dry, I flipped it over and stapled orange lights to the back. I made sure not to have the lights too close to the edges. I placed the board against a wall on our house, turned the lights on, and now I have the spookiest haunted house silhouette for the season. I hope this inspires you to get creative with plywood silhouettes this spooky season.
Tired of worrying about strange noises or unexpected visitors in the middle of the night? With the Eufy Cam S3 Pro, these worries are a thing of the past. When day turns to night, there's no compromising on quality. With max color vision technology and 4K camera, the Eufy Cam S3 Pro delivers crystal clear, day-like footage, even in pitch black conditions. The Eufy Cam S3 Pro takes just 10 minutes to install and you're ready to protect your home. Don't worry about hooking up wires and plugs, it's powered by the sun. With a 50% larger solar panel than the previous model, this means just 1 hour of sunlight per day keeps it fully charged. Plus, with the external solar panel, you can mount it anywhere for maximum coverage. Once it's up and running, you can customize your security with precise detection up to 39 feet and as wide as 120 degrees field of view. You can set activity zones so you'll only get alerts for the areas that matter to you. Get 24/7 surveillance and peace of mind with the Eufy Cam S3 Pro. Head to the link in the description for 15% off your own Eufy Cam S3 Pro.
Dollar Tree this time of year has got some great Halloween stuff out there. Just go through and pick up anything and everything you need, especially these lights. And then look at these little skulls. They look so lonely. I think we should take a few of these home for our next project. So what we want to do is grab an old palette, any kind will do, and we're going to lay it out, start painting the top. Looking for some gray primer to put on the top. Now, the reason we're going to use a primer is, number one, it's going to help with any moisture, especially with the fall season approaching. We want to cover basically all the top and get that base coat on there. It also helps with any light reflection, especially from the lights that we're going to add. Next, I think we should do some two-tone. Let's go ahead and put a little black paint on there. It's going to make this project shine a little bit more. Just random, put it on there, no need to put it on too thick, and then a little driftwood, which is a little bit of white, give us a three-tone paint. Let's go ahead and put the palette exactly where we want it. Let's grab those cheap old lights and get them out. We're going to start placing those all underneath the palette. Put those up and under and around and through. Now, if they start to get a little bit out of the way or they're going to recoil, just grab a stapler and put it down in there. Make sure you don't puncture the wire itself. Also, where the plug is going to be, make sure you put that up there. Keeps it out of the rain. Now, the great thing about these plugs is they plug in to the back of each other. You can put 4 or 5 or 6 of those on and they won't overheat. Then we want to do is make sure, get all those lights out from underneath. I use 4 strands on this one. You could use 5 or 6. 3 might be a little too light, so put it on there, especially with all these orange lights. You want to cover the surrounds on the sides a little bit. I had some bricks laying around. You could use some rock or some bark dust. I took the brick and I kind of separated it because some of the light is going to come out from the bottom. That will give us a chance to allow the light to go ahead and shine through just a few of these gaps. So I got the bricks all put around, and then next, remember those skulls? Let's just wedge those through the pallet wood right there and pop it right into place. Go ahead and put as many as you want. I think I chose 3 or 4 for this project and I just randomly put them up, especially to pay attention and look at the people coming up. Next, we want to put those little skull hands up there. These little skeleton hands just look great. I did put just a dab of glue just to hold it in place in case the wind came up. Now these hands look like they're reaching up through the bars coming from the ground. And then remember those orange twigs? They look like fire just raging out of the bottom. So put them up, spread them out. And then last but not least, I found a little rat at Dollar Tree, put it right on top there. add a few little signs on the sides, and then once the lights come on, look at that. Right at the entrance where the little trick-or-treaters come up to grab their candy, you can have a little flasher on the signs if you want, but look at this project. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. It's that spooky time of season again, and I want to make the biggest impact on the garage door, but it's really dirty. Just a simple hose down with the hose will do the job. The next step is to run down the Dollar Tree and grab some of those black foam boards. I'm going to start in the upper corners of the garage door. I want to make everything symmetrical, so what I'm going to do is draw some fangs here. This is going to attach to the facial board. Next, I'm going to put these foam boards together, one on top of the other, and I'm going to use a razor knife to cut through. And since I cut all the way through the second, they're very symmetrical, ready to go. Now it's time to hang it up. I can put it on the board trim right on the outside using a stapler. Just a couple of 3/4 inch staples will do the job. Make sure it's nice and secure. Next, these foam boards are 20 inches wide. We can actually cut those in half. So I'm going to mark it and cut it down 10 inches on each side. That gives me more distance for the foam that I got. Starting at one end, I'm going to mark where I left off, and I'm going to put 2 of the boards together, and then I'm going to mark some teeth out. Now, these are going to look like big old shark teeth, but you don't want to make them look all the same. You can make them random, maybe a little squirrely whirly or anything like that, just to make them look different. Once you get it marked out, it's time to cut. Give enough pressure to get through, but not too much. Once you cut through, go ahead and pull it all together and pull it out. Now we're going to go ahead and go down the foam board. The great thing is, it doesn't take many of these foam boards. At $1.25 each, it doesn't take much, and you're not spending that much on this project. Once I get it all cut out, it's time to hang it up. Starting at the other end, just go ahead and use your stapler and put it in. Make sure it's secure just in case the wind comes up or anything like that. Now, once the top is all the way in, let's start at the bottom, but we're not going to go all the way to the side. And I want to bring the garage door up just a little bit so that I can mark the teeth for the bottom that kind of go up against the gaps in the top. Using some double-sided duct tape, I'm going to put that on the back and secure it to the garage door. Use as much tape as you want, or some clear silicone will do the job. Next step, I'm going to use a whole foam board for the eyes. What I'm going to do is go ahead and mark those out and cut them. Give them like a scary look to them. Now, on these eyes, I'm also going to use some white foam board. It's going to give it like a 3D look. I'm going to mark it out and cut it on the inside, but I'm not going to show you the whole thing right now because I'm going to save this to the end to show you the surprise. But I do need to get it cut out and put together. The next step is I notice these fangs are a little boring, so let's grab some red paint, use some cardboard for the backing, and let's spray it and look like it's got a little bit of blood on the end there. That's going to make it real spooky, and I think it turned out pretty nice. Now I got to put the eyes up. We're going to raise those up a little bit using some clear silicone and put those together. And look at that. Our monster garage is looking great. It can go up and down. You can keep it open or stop it halfway. It's actually going to look really good. I think it turned out great, and I can't wait to show it off to the trick-or-treaters. I hope this inspired you to build your own DIY monster garage. With Halloween fast approaching, I got a window up front that seems a little bare. First thing I did was get the blinds off. I want to open it up for this project. Next, I want to take from Dollar Tree some black foam board. What I'm going to do is put all of this all over the window. Now, I only need it in sections where I'm going to outline or draw for the window sketch. In the middle, where my biggest project is going to go, I'm going to go ahead and double up. Between the foam boards, if they're together, you want to make sure you tape the seams. That way it comes down together. This foam board is just not tall enough, so I had to add a little bit of an extra section for the witch's hat right there. I'm also going to cover up every little square that I want some of my sketch to go. So I'm going to cover both sides, top and bottom. Also want to make sure that I cover the top window because I got a little surprise I want to add in there. Once I get everything in place that I need it, I'm going to turn on my projector. Not all of us are great artists, so I'm going to use this projector as a little bit of a cheat. I went on the internet and used one of my favorite search engines to do any searching for Halloween, silhouette, pumpkins, anything that's scary but easy to sketch out. There's plenty to choose from. In fact, there's thousands. Especially on this witch, I want to make sure I get the pointy nose, and I loved how it was doing the cauldron. You can use your projector to go in, out, make it any size you want. Once you got it all lined out, go ahead and take the foam board off, and then we've got to cut it. I went ahead and put some cardboard underneath so I don't cut through the table, and then I use an X-Acto knife. Give it a firm press and cut out all along the lines. Don't try to do too much at a time and go slow. You want to make sure that you're not going to cut your hands or anything, especially on these lines like these whiskers. You want to be very delicate so that you don't cut through. I'm going to go ahead and just go through all of the outlines right there. This is an easier sketch than some. The more complicated, yeah, it's going to look good in your window, but you're not there to overwhelm. We just want to greet all those trick-or-treaters when they come up. Once you get it all cut out, go ahead and slice a few extra sections at a time. That way you're not trying to pop out too much. Go ahead and cut littler strips and you can pull those out. Now, when it comes time to the tape that you put on the seam, no worries. Just go ahead and cut straight through that also. It will just come right out. Once you get it all cut out and it's looking good, turn it over, and I use a black electrical tape on the other side of the seam that will be facing the outside. That way it holds it together. Put the silhouette back up in the window, and here's the catch. How are you going to set it to the window? We're going to take some of that black electrical tape, fold it over on itself, and put it against the window and the foam board and press it together. Now it's time for the orange lights. Take those, unravel them, and we're going to go up and down the back side of the silhouette. We don't want the lights to show, but what you can do, make sure they're close to the outside without sticking over. There's no right or wrong way to do it. You're going to get a magical glow no matter what. It's going to look great. I put the shutters back up. Here we go. It lights up beautiful. And at the top, I went ahead and added a bat with a different color. This silhouette just turned out amazing with our big window in the front. All those trick-or-treaters that are coming up, getting treats, are going to be greeted by this wonderful art display. And the great thing about it is you can save it for next year. I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did making it, and we'll see you again on Home Talk.